Hey, everybody, this is Jets Chaos, and I am sick. That's right, I am sick, but I'm here and I'm alive. So I'm going to push through this until Nick gets here, and then we'll see how far I can go. But until Nick gets here, it's just your sickly Jets Chaos. I don't know what's wrong with me. I got this pain in my stomach, lower belly. It hurts. I can't believe I just said belly on stream. Sorry about that, guys. My stomach, and I was up all night last night. I'm much better now. I'm on Advil and I'm sweating up a storm. I think it makes me feel better. So I'm on the mend, but we're going to come back. We're going to talk about everything that's going on with our New York Jets as we prepare for this upcoming offseason. We've talked about it a million times. I know about we know what our needs are. I don't think Jet fans have ever been more on the same page. It's just, of course, we don't agree on which players and all that stuff. We'll talk about that. But right now, we also got to pay attention to guys like Ashton Davis and, Whitehead and guys like that. Who's coming back? Who's gone? We'll talk about all that when we come back.
And now, welcome to Pride and Chaos.
Welcome to the darkest year of our adventures. Oh, yeah!
And now, give it up for Jeremy and Nick.
Now you scared me.
And as usual, Nick is wrong.
Why are you the way that you are? God, I can't stand you.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Whoa, that was cool.
All right. And here we go. Let's do this. Let's start the show. And I know Nick Shine will be here. He's coming. Believe me, I'm going to need him to be here. I'm not going to last very long, but he's coming. For right now, it is just us. We'll be here, ready to rock and roll. And Nick is calling right now on the phone. Let's see what Nick wants and what he's got to say for himself. What's going on, Nick?
Hey.
Hey, everybody's listening. What's up?
Everybody.
What's going on?
I just want to tell you I don't want to be friends with you anymore or host a show with you. You're a nuisance to my life. I'm on my way home. Give me like 5 minutes to get home and then 5 minutes to get on.
All right, man. Later.
I'll save it. I love the chat. I don't like you.
Feelings mutual.
Goodbye.
It never hangs up when I want it to hang up. I never get the last word. It drives me crazy. Anyway, someone says they still love me. Why still love me? Did I do something to lose that love? Yeah, I still love you. Why wouldn't you love me? Why wouldn't you love me? You got to send me your address, though, because I got to send you Cisco. He's still here sitting right next to me. So you won that toy fair and square. I wasn't able to deliver it to you in North Carolina. So you're gonna have to send it to me. Billy SBC, what's going on, man? Billy really wants Alt, man. He wants to get Alt in free agency. Am I crazy to want Robbie Anderson at 3 or 4 real cheap contract? Don't want to rely on Cobb. Oh, well, I'm not gonna say crazy. Because I wouldn't last very long if I called the viewers and the people who want to talk crazy for giving their takes. The one thing that I would say is if they were going to talk to Robbie Anderson, it wouldn't be 3. I don't even think or 4. I think it would be more. I'm not against Robbie Anderson coming into camp to compete for a spot. How about that? But I wouldn't even. I would definitely not rely on him to be our 3 if I could help it. I mean, look. I understand the reality. After Garrett Wilson, it's very thin. None of us trust Lazard. So technically, we need 2 and 3. Like, we need to add 2 receivers. I think. There's a chance that Xavier Gibson or Brownlee will step up. But will they step up to be a number 3 receiver? I'm not sure. I'm not sure you're going to get that kind of jump from either of those guys. Those are development guys. We knew that they were going to have to be developed from the start. But one day they might be. Lazard, I think, could be better with Aaron Rodgers playing. I do. We just need the Lazard from 2 years ago, right? Not the one from last year. Now, the circumstances will be different from him when he has his quarterback back, right? His buddy on the field. And maybe he's, the one thing about Lazard is he's not exactly this explosive, get off the line of scrimmage, get into his route quickly kind of guy. And when you have no offensive line and your quarterback under pressure and you don't even have a quarterback that can get the ball out or to the second read, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be problems, right? So he probably got frustrated. He tried to do too much. He's always had a little case of the drops. But I think that Lazard will be better and possibly not the best number 3 wide receiver in the league by any means, but a serviceable wide receiver 3. So we have to get somebody to be number 2. Either that's going to be everything we're talking about, whether we're going to sign someone like, Riddler, or I call him the Riddler, Calvin Ridley, or, trade for Ayuk, all the different things people are talking about. Are we going to get a wide receiver that way? If we don't sign any wide receiver in free agency, I think we have to draft 2 of them. And I think that we guaranteed have to use our 3rd round pick on it unless we trade down the first pick or figure out a way to get some extra draft capital. Like, we have to add some wide receivers to this team. And, I was thinking about it before. Everybody is debating whether or not offensive line or wide receiver is our biggest need. And I'm going to say that both are true. I'm going to say when you look at Super Bowl teams, both are true. When you look at winning teams, both are true. Now, I could make the argument that offensive line is more true. I can make that argument. I could, there was a time where you didn't need, you just needed some receivers that could play football serviceable, and you had your number 1 receiver. And then the game started to change. It became more of a passing league, and you needed more than one. Now, if our offensive line is better, we can't forget that Conklin might become a much more effective weapon. And if they finally give Ruckert more reps and more opportunity, we might get from the tight end position more offense that way. Plus, now supposedly our offensive coordinator figured out that Breece Hall is a good receiving running back. So while I will say I really, just like everybody else, want to see this team get another weapon, and even a functional number 3 receiver, because injuries happen. I want another guy who can come in and be the number 2 if they have to, if somebody goes down. It's both things. You need an offensive line. Otherwise, those weapons don't matter. And then when you have the offensive line, if you don't have the weapons, what good does it? You got to have the weapons. So we could fight all day about which is more important or which is the higher priority, or we could just agree we need both. We need another weapon or 2. And we need offensive line. We have to rebuild our offensive line, and we have to do it in a hurry, and it's not going to be easy, and it's very rare to be able to do it in 1 year, to do a turnaround. It doesn't really happen that often. But if you can, depending on who it is and the guys we get, it's not impossible to at least get serviceable offensive line play. And then a guy like Rodgers and a running back like Breece Hall can make all the rest work. Remember, even with a beaten up offensive line with all those backups last year, in games that they played 2 games in a row, or there was one stretch where we had them play 3 games in a row, that was when we were winning games and beating tough teams. So more important than the actual players on the offensive line, actually having continuity is just as important as the players we sign and add to the offensive line. So one of the things that's really not in our control that we really have to hope for is health, regardless of who plays. But Robbie Anderson, they want to bring him into camp to compete for a spot? Well, I don't care. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe he wouldn't be people would argue Cobb has experience. You can't have Cobb. You got to think the upside of Anderson would be better than Cobb. But look, Robbie Anderson had his chances. He was in other teams. He didn't do anything anywhere. So I'm not going to sit there and get excited about Robbie Anderson. But if you tell me they bring him into camp to fight for a roster spot, why would I argue that? Denzel Mims could come back and fight for a roster spot. I don't care who they bring in to fight for a roster spot. Anybody they want to bring in could come in and fight for a roster spot. So, do I think that's crazy? No, I think you could bring anyone in, but I would not think of bringing someone in like that for 3 and number 4. I would think of bringing someone in like that to compete for a roster spot and bring depth to the position. That's how I would see it. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's tolerable for you. Novcraft says, I would sign Robbie if one of the conditions changed to come back to Robbie instead of Chosen. Oh, so you're saying he'd have to change his name back? Oh, that's funny. Murthia Simon, what's going on, my friend? Yeah, we do. Yeah, every team overrates their players, right? Oh, every team overrates their players. But there are some players we have that I think sometimes we underrate. I think they make a mistake and we are too hard on them. Because of their draft position, this or that. Sometimes we underrate our own players, but not nearly as often as we overrate them. But that's just fandom. I don't think that makes us different than any other fan base. I think what makes us different than every fan base is that the Jets fan base has no patience, and we completely contradict ourselves all the time. Like, get a developmental quarterback. Why? If you got a 3rd, 4th round development, let's say in the 4th round, we took a developmental quarterback. If they had any struggles at all at any point during that development, he's a bust. He's a bust. Get rid of him. I mean, you guys don't like anyone as soon as they have a bad day. This fan base, they don't like anybody. They turn on everybody. You're going to develop a quarterback. Developing a quarterback means having to tolerate bad games. That's part of development. So, I mean, look what we've done to Carter Warren. When you say, who do you want to underrate? We draft this guy in the 6th round. He's a 2nd round talent potentially if he doesn't get injured. He's injured and doesn't play the last 8 games of his college career. He misses all of camp for us. So here's a rookie who hasn't played in a year. He didn't have an NFL training camp. And because of injuries, we were forced to take this kid who we had no plans when we drafted him to actually use last season. There was absolutely no plan that this would be a guy that played. There wasn't even a hope that he would win a starting job and be better than we thought because we knew he was injured and wasn't going to be in a training camp. So there was no question in our minds that this guy was not supposed to play. And he came in. What did we expect for him to be? A great offensive lineman, a great right tackle? He was a 6th round pick, and he's coming into the game and never had an NFL training camp. And he comes in, and guess what? He was actually serviceable. I'm not sitting there and ringing the bells for him, but he wasn't horrible. He wasn't a disaster. He was better than Neil Smith for the Giants. Like, remember the disaster he was? There were games last season where it was embarrassing for Smith. Like, they were running past him every play. Like, he wasn't even serviceable. Carter Warren was serviceable. We're going to talk about how we want to get developmental players. We talk about how we want developmental players, and then we have no patience to actually develop players. Because people are sitting there saying, and look, I'm the first one to say, I don't want to rely on Carter Warren. I don't want that to be our first answer. But to also the fan base that's talking about him like he's such crap. Like, Carter Warren, blah, 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 blah. Carter Warren's garbage, blah, blah. What are you basing that on? That he wasn't playing high-quality offensive tackle? His first few games where he wasn't even supposed to play this season? He was a guy who was supposed to come in, get healthy, develop in the training room, get him stronger, teach, coach it. Then next year, this season, he has the full training camp and then, becomes a backup, and then maybe he surprises. Everything was the opposite. He was thrown into the fire, and I think he did great considering those circumstances, and I think we should be really grateful and happy for the way Carter Warren played. So that was just my example of Marthius. I agree that we overrate our players, but I think we also underrate our players as well. I think we do that too. Let's see. I never know if you guys are talking to me, if you're talking to each other. I'm the one who only thinks the offensive line situation isn't bad, that we just need to stay healthy. No, I think that it's well, obviously we have work to do, Wild Wave, because we physically don't have the players. But I am behind the argument. I am behind the argument that worse than the talent on the offensive line, the number one problem why it was so bad was the lack of continuity. That I would definitely stand. I would stand up, and there were games where we played very well the offense, and we were scattered around where we played well, and you could look. It was the weeks where we had continuity, and I'm not even talking about 8 games continuity. If the offensive line played 2-3 games together, those were our best games. So, yeah, I think if you gave me a choice, the first thing I would fix about our offensive line, or the first thing I'd want to happen next season, is stay healthy. That would be the number one thing. And then I'm worried about the talent and who we get. But just stay healthy. Like, let's literally keep our offensive line together. Let our starting 5 start 15 out of the 17 games, 14 out of the 17 games. And I guarantee you, all the teams that did really well and made it to the final 8 in the playoffs were all teams that managed to do that. And even the Cleveland Browns, people who lost 2 of their tackles, yeah, they lost their tackles, but the guys who came in stayed healthy. Their guards stayed healthy, and they played a lot of games together. And they weren't great. They went 6-8 to finish the season. So, you know what I mean? They managed to get in, and then they got crushed in the playoffs. So that's another thing that bothers me when people keep on throwing Cleveland's name out there like they did something so amazing. Anyway, I got to make an introduction. I think he wants to be introduced. Otherwise, he would have came in. He likes his introduction. It makes him feel special. Ladies and gentlemen. What can I say about this guy? I mean, I hate him. He hates me. Yet, I'm bound to him. I'm bound to him. I don't know, what comparison to make. It's like, you ever see 48 Hours back in the day, Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte would beat each other up, they hate each other's guts, yet they always end up together, and they're bound together for life? Well, that's what we're dealing with here. Ladies and gentlemen, he's now sober for almost a year. A great father. He's a great father. He doesn't even give himself enough credit for the father that he is, because he does more things in the time that I've known him with his son than my father ever did with me, as far as doing things I like to do, taking me to football games and things that he knew I loved. And I'm not even complaining. My dad was great. That's just how great this guy is. He is a 9-toed, freaky, foul-mouthed, angry, yet happy, yet soft-natured, yet prickle, yet porky-piney, sharp, and it hurts when you go near him. He is the great one, the one and only co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Nick Shine.
What's up, buddy? Thank you for that. I mean, buy me dinner first if you want to sleep with me. Jeez. Oh, that was a little over the top. Holy mackerel.
I am the guy that told Jeff Ehrlich I loved him.
You're very... And I've told Joe Torre that I love him. We left the Yankee game years ago. We went for Old Timers Day, going back to probably 06. The kid's mom, her dad, her uncle, her mom, her brother, his wife. We went. We're leaving. We get stopped on the Deegan as we're about to exit. Mercedes-Benz pulls up, tinted out windows, rolls down the window, shakes the cop's hands. It's Joe Torre. He pulls out to get on the Deegan. I'm the first car. I go. I'm trying to get next to him. I get next to him. I tell him to roll his window down. He rolls the window down. My hand to God. I yell, Joe, I love you, man. And he goes, love you too. Got scared, hit the gas, and took off. Nobody says anything for like a couple miles. And then Gina's dad, who was like a Dom DeLuise, like ball buster. Me and him were like twins. He goes, Gina, I got to clean this up for the air. You know that your boyfriend likes men? He pulled up next to Joe Torre and said, I love you, man. He's leaving you for a dude, Gina. And I got ripped the rest of the car ride home.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. That was all they heard. Out of 2,000 people or maybe 1,000 people that were in that stadium in Alabama, with all these people, I literally was hiding behind people. We were supposed to be off the field 7 minutes before that. Dom C is chasing me around nervous. Chaos, Jeremy, we got to go. We got to, I don't know. Like, he's nervous. We grab Fuaga. We do the interview with Fuaga. The lady's behind us. You could see her in the interview with Fuaga trying to get us off the field. The interview finishes. We start walking with the players into the tunnel. I'm running away from the lady. I see Ehrlich. I went through all this trouble. Nobody else. He's surrounded by his own guys. I push my way in there, right? And I get him to look at me and say hello to the Jet fans. And what does everybody remember and obsess on? That I said, thanks, coach. We love you. That's what everybody chooses to remember. Not that I freaking rolled over backwards to get this guy to talk directly to us.
I appreciate your efforts. I think everyone else is just jealous that they're not you.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Hey, you let us be us, bro. You let us be us. No judgment. It's a judgment-free zone here on the channel.
Joe Torre was probably the most surprising manager in the history of baseball. Like, his hire for the Yankees. It was like, I was like blown away, shocked. I said, Joe Torre. I thought it was such a joke. My friends who are Yankee fans were like, what the hell is happening here? And then he ends up being a legend.
A lot of people, I've equated the Joe Torre hire, getting rid of Buck Showalter and bringing in Joe Torre is like the Warriors getting rid of Mark Jackson and bringing in Steve Kerr. You got rid of the guy that built it, and then the other guy kind of gets all the credit for it. But anyone who knows, that 90s Yankees is that Buck Showalter built and developed that team. And then all of a sudden they make that move.
Yeah.
And that Don Mattingly home run in 95 is still the best baseball moment of my life. Even winning World Series, Don Mattingly finally getting a playoff home run and the way he ran those bases. That call by the guy on ESPN, whoa, hang on to the roof. And it's outdoors at Yankee Stadium. It's one of the greatest sports calls I've ever heard in my life.
So I want to name players to you. Okay.
Real quick, Matthias, thank you for checking in. I appreciate the love and enjoy your vacation, man. I saw the pictures today, man. You deserve that. Kick your feet up.
Where's Matthias? Where is he? I
forget where he is, but it's just beautiful scenery.
All right, cool. Matthias, you have to remind me where you're from originally. Like where you're from, like what's your nationality, your ethnicity?
From his mother. He's from his mother. Hey, oh.
You know what I mean? Like, I have a feeling that Matthias is first generation America, possibly. Anyway,
Fort Lauderdale.
I was just curious where he's from. Fort Lauderdale. No, my parents just named me Matthias. Okay, okay. Figured he was from somewhere. We have a lot of people in America, people that have come from other places.
All right, go ahead. Okay, what game are we playing?
I wanted to name a player, and I want you to give me the percentage that you think we re-sign him or bring him back. Okay, we'll start with the easy one. Carl Lawson.
0.
Okay.
0.1.
Okay. Whitehead.
0, because they let the contract expire. If they wanted to keep him, they would have worked something out without letting that contract expire.
Okay, so you think they've moved on from him for sure?
Yeah.
Dwayne Brown.
0.
Okay.
Same thing, right? Like, they let the contract expire. There's no sense in bringing him back because that dead money you'd be paying him twice, from my understanding. You'd be paying him the dead money, And then that money still is there. And then the new contract is the new contract. Why would you double dip on a player like this, right? Any of these guys. I'll put 0.1, I guess, for all of them.
Okay, Connor McGovern.
25.
That's it? Okay.
I think 25%, depending on how the draft goes. Kind of like what we did last year. He came in on a veteran minimum. If the draft doesn't go the way we want, if we don't get an interior lineman that we like, or I think it's a 25% chance that he's back. You got to remember, too, bad injury like that. You guys get older in career. He was kind of like no other team went after him last year. He got the veteran minimum to come back. So it wasn't like he was heavily recruited and like he got the veteran minimum. Now you're coming off an injury. Some team might not even want to give you that. So I think I'm overrating it at 25. But all right.
Okay. Jefferson, defensive tackle.
10%. Because his contract expired too, and I thought they could have extended him. If any of those four, I think he's got the best chance. But I also think he played well enough to get – this scheme finds defensive tackles. This scheme will find guys that fit it and can excel in it. And most likely he gets a decent payday somewhere else by somebody more desperate. And our coaching staff believes we can find a veteran and make him have a fit and get him to play better than the production he's previously had.
Okay. Solomon Thomas.
50.001. I'll give it a little over 50%.
Okay.
I think Solomon Thomas is a great locker room guy. Obviously, he's been our Man of the Year nominee. I think he likes it here. I think the room likes him here. I think that he's not going to break the bank. I think he's I think he knows his niche as a role player who might make a play or two a game. Not a big play, but just a tackle or two a game. Maybe stuff a run or put a little pressure. Maybe get a half a sack here and there. But I think he likes it here, and I think he goes to the Jets and just says, "Hey, I'm happy here. Let's make it work."
Okay. Because I'm not going to be able to hold out very long.
The hell did you? Right.
I'm a wreck right now. I'm seeing double because I'm like so freaking sick. I put the link for call-ins. For those of you who might have noticed, there was a link for call-ins. So this way we can just let other people talk and give their opinions. And if I have to go, you won't be alone. And I know a lot of people enjoy calling in. So
yeah, let them call in. I'll do one at a time. So if somebody else pops in first, guys, we'll rotate it. And if somebody else wants to pop in, give them like 10 minutes, and then we'll move on. We'll rotate it through to everybody. Give everyone some equal time to pop on. Who else you got?
Well, there was one other guy, I'm forgetting his name, that got hurt. The defensive tackle who also played well. He was a run stopping.
Woods is, when you're that big, you're not coming back in 6 months. Woods is probably done for his career. If not, he won't be a free agent. I don't think signed in the summer. He won't pass a physical with his size, with that Achilles rupture. Okay. So with his age, everyone thought it was kind of his last hurrah here anyway.
Right. Okay, I got you. That's the StreamYard link for anybody who wants to call in. I know Johnny Jimenez is probably like yelling at his wife, "Get me my good hat. Get me my good hat. I need the good hat. The one with the big rim."
Why did you make Johnny Jimenez Western European?
I'm sorry. I'm surprised Dano hasn't called in yet. Come on, Dano. I love that name. I'll just be Dano. Okay. So you don't expect a lot of the guys whose contract who expired to come back. Like
no,
what you're saying.
I'm big on Ashton Davis.
Okay, Ashton Davis, and that's the one.
Morstead, Zerline, Davis are the first three that I gotta get. Like I don't even want them hitting the market, to be completely honest with you.
The kickers are a must. The kickers are a must.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The one thing that I love about Morstead, and the nice position we're in. There's no way he's leaving without warning us. It's not like one of those things where suddenly, oh, they offered me a better contract, I left, guys. He wants to be a Jet. I've never.
Yeah.
He might be the biggest Jet fan of any player we've ever had. I mean, the guy loves the Jets.
Yeah.
Loves being this fan base. He loves it. So he ain't going anywhere without at least saying, hey, guys, I'm being offered a lot more money somewhere else.
No, I think what you're going to see before free agency is you're going to see some of the contracts reworked. You're going to see some money opened up. Somebody told me, I read on Twitter, I still call it Twitter. I'm not changing the name. CJ Mosley has no guaranteed money this year. So the Jets could potentially rip that contract up and give him a new contract with bonuses and other stuff where it lowers the cap number drastically and opens up a tremendous amount of money for this year and the next year. Don't wait to see what Aaron Rodgers does. Aaron Rodgers will probably do the same thing he did last year. You're kicking a can down the road, but if you can open up from $63 million down to $8 million on the cap, you do that, right? I think this year he hit 63.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's certain guys you gotta do what you gotta do to get them back because they're part of what makes the team work. Yeah. I don't think that. I mean, I'm not too worried. I don't think that at his age there are many teams in the market that are running out to steal Greg Zuerlein from us because it's like a lot of the great teams have great field goal kickers, and like other teams like are rebuilding, are not worried about paying a lot for a field goal kicker yet because they're not ready yet. They don't need that guy yet. You have to be in the right situation to even care about Greg Zuerlein. And I think that's another player who probably likes it. He revitalized his career here. So he's probably not looking to leave, so as long, and field goal kickers, usually there's an easier, lower price range that's not going to break the bank. So there's no reason we should lose them.
Yeah. But yeah, give me those two guys. Give me Ashton Davis.
Hennessy.
I think he's under contract. Is he free agent?
Oh, is he still under contract? What do we just have
I'm
a
not
10
sure.
year? What do we have, a 10-year, $1 million a year?
No, I
contract?
think he gets like a minimum every so often.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. I think you're going to see a lot of 1-year deals with some savvy veterans, some guys who have some starting spot, like a Chuck Clark last year, right? We got a Chuck Clark, and we had high hopes for Chuck Clark, who, due to Baltimore going big with their safeties, drafting Hamilton early, and then bringing in the kid from the Saints, opened up a spot for him. And they were like, all right, man, we like you. You've been good here, but, we'll give you an opportunity to go play somewhere else.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he got injured. That's somebody, I would like to see re-signed as well. Bring in Clark, bring back Davis. You got Tony Adams, draft another safety. I mean, Ashton Davis to me is a guy who's just like Huff. He produces in small samples. Why not give him a bigger role? If you got a guy who's getting more turnovers in 1 week than Sauce has had in 2 years, how do you not?
Yeah, Ashton Davis.
Give the guy an opportunity. Not even the elite guys sometimes don't get the ball. You got a guy who gets the ball, whether it's fumbles, interceptions, driving a guy back for a safety. You got guys who create and make plays. You don't let guys like that in this league go because not every guy can do that.
Ashton Davis has an ability to create turnovers. He does. See the way he tackles, he got that technique down. He forces, it's not an accident. And, the other thing is he's gotten better every year he's been on the team. His camp last year, in the preseason and everything, he looked outstanding. He really did. He was fast. He was sharp. He was aggressive. He was making great plays. I think, it takes some guys to develop. It takes them a little bit longer. He needed to be healthy. He needed to have his opportunity. But I think it's another example of just giving up on a player too soon and what they could be. I think, I agree. I think Ashton Davis isn't just a very thin kind of role guy that only has a little bit of space to contribute. I think he could be a nice piece of that defense that brings something that we don't have, and that's somebody who just has a nose for the ball. He gets us the freaking football.
Yeah, agreed. It's somebody that guys like that just they don't fall off trees.
Right.
I'm not saying he's Ronnie Lott, but I'm just saying that he's got a knack for finding the ball. He's got a very good value on special teams. Whether you just keep him as your third safety and you rotate him in certain packages and allow him to do well in certain areas, I think he's, aside from the two kickers, should be the number. I wouldn't even let him hit, because New England just lost Matthew Slater. You bring him in to be a special team ace somewhere else. Somebody might pay for that and value that. New England's going to punt a lot, so they're going to need guys going down on special teams.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
We are not. Oh my God, Kuka. Why? I almost have a year sober, and you're talking about shit like this to make me want to drink.
Well,
what Nick is trying to say is that Jamal Adams will be signed. Listen. Oh, you saw my video. I'm not even taking that bait, you son of a bitch. You got me good. Bastard. I was ready to go, and then I remembered who said it, and I was like, oh, he's fucking with me. Well done. I will tip my hat to you, sir. Well done. You had me chomping there, ready to go.
Hold on 1 second. I got to do something. Oh, no, that didn't work.
Oh, it's Tigo's birthday? Happy
it's somebody else's birthday, too. Who else is it? I think it's Dano's birthday. Tigo, it's your birthday?
Kuka? I don't know.
Or is it Kuka's birthday,
A couple
too?
people saying happy birthday to Tigo in the chat.
Wow. Happy birthday to you. No, he's saying he's questioning it, though. He's questioning it. Like he's saying it's my birthday, question mark? So I don't think it's Tigo.
Oh, all right. All right, Tigo, I take it back. No happy birthday for you. Oh, Kuka's belated birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you're going to see a lot of savvy veterans. I think you're going to see some favors called in. Hey, come join us. We need this. We need that. I think Bakhtiari ends up here. I just pray to God. It's like I can't go more than 2 years, 12 million with heavy incentives. You know what I mean? I can't do more than that. I can't pay him starters money because we can't invest on him being there long term.
Performance-laden contracts are interesting to me. I have questions. How does that count versus the cap? Meaning, if you have $20 million to spend in the cap and you give someone a laden incented contract that can go to $30 million, are you technically over the cap? Do you have to count the maximum they can make against the cap beforehand?
It's
Do you have to have what?
It's a percentage of what's the cap number, what the contract is, and then that's why you see a lot of inflated contracts that can boost the bonuses. I gotta. That's something I want to look up and look into more and study this.
Okay.
Tigo says if he hits the incentive at that moment, it hits the cap.
I'm going to bring in our first call in.
Yeah, okay. Let me use the bathroom before you go. Let me. Okay.
I'm not running anywhere. I'm not running anywhere. So
all right. I just don't want to talk to this guy. So
okay.
let me end the show as soon as he enters. That seems to be the ritual. Go ahead.
Guys, I'm about to bring in somebody who he makes great barbecues for his family. This guy doesn't joke around. I mean, I know when he goes in the backyard on a spring day, everybody's eating good. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Jimenez. What's up, brother?
Going on, dude? How you holding up, man?
I'm okay. I was last night was rough, man. You get the chills and you're freezing all of a sudden. I'm never cold. So for me to be cold, I knew this is not a good thing. But the Advil's working. I'm feeling much better right now. So
Hey, you guys are going through like a cold front out there in the West Coast, right? I got family that lives out in like Los Banos area, right? And he's been telling me that it's been kind of cold for them over there, like in the 40s, which is like never happens and whatnot.
yeah, I mean it does. It is that time of year here where it's the weather's really weird, and I think what makes it even harder is the variance. Like it literally will be 37 degrees in the morning, and then we're at 60 by 2 p.m.
That's crazy.
So it's just the change, and then it really changes in the evening. It goes from you could be sitting there and it's 60 degrees at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and by or 5:30, and then by 6:30 the sun's going down. And all of a sudden, it's freaking 40 degrees and you're freezing. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm having a little bit of issues with my stomach. Like I have a stomach ache, so I'm hoping. I don't know. I might have something weird, but it's not too bad though. So I'm not gonna, knock on wood. I don't think I think I'll be all right. But I just feel like
I think maybe you were knocking on wood, and that's why your backside hurts a little bit. Sorry.
Hey, did you guys see that? It said the stream is over again up there.
Yeah, I owe everybody an apology for that. It's a force of habit when I leave a show, my own show, like on my channel, because we're in my StreamYard. Even though it was Nick's channel, it's my StreamYard, so I'm used to just hitting end stream.
Yeah. So he had the controls up top because I'm using his StreamYard right now. I don't want to bore anybody with that. Look, Tigo don't even listen to the rules of the call-in. Give us 10 minutes at a clip for everybody. All right, Tigo, give us a couple minutes with Johnny, and we'll get you in.
It's okay for him to set himself up to be next, though. It's okay for him to hang out.
He's in line. I just want to let him know that we're not being rude.
I mean, if you don't come in,
I'm ironing. That's what.
Hey, so quick thing, right? I'm gonna bring this up to both of you guys because I do appreciate your guys' feedback and I respect your guys' takes on a lot of stuff that you guys say, right? So I feel like I'm more focused on free agency right now before the draft, right? So I feel like free agency is going to get us to the point of the draft where we could pick something that we all know that we should pick, but that luxury pick could be there, right? So with a lot of these players that are out right now in free agency, I feel like we could make a huge impact on our line by possibly bringing in a couple of these guys. I think the depth pieces, we have them with the Max Mitchell. We have it with the Carter Warren, I think his name is, if I'm not mistaken, and Wes Schweister and stuff like that, right? There's players out there, and I still feel like we should go ahead and draft an O-line, but I think us picking up a second is huge. What is your guys' take? And let's just say that we go ahead, we bring in, I don't know, a Trent Brown or a Micah Winu, or we go a Donovan Smith, right? And then we pick up maybe Mekhi Becton's for like a 1-year prove-it deal, right? Put him into like the right. Then we have your AVT there. We still have Pittman and maybe sign or McGovern and all that. What's your guys' take on all that?
I will just start by saying, no matter what the situation is, but assuming we add something at tackle, unless it's like Joe Alt or Fuaga, Fashanu, whichever one JD loves, if they take any of those three guys at 10, I'm totally fine. I believe it or not, if it's not Joe Alt, I kind of want Fuaga. But I'll live with Fashanu. But and I'm okay with it, but a big part of me wants to trade down. A big part of me would be okay trading down a little bit and risking not getting one of those guys, having to settle for Guyton or Mims or something like that if it gets us a second-round pick. And that's just me being honest. Like, that there's a part of me, no matter who we get with that first pick, that if we don't trade down and get a second-round pick, if we don't somehow get a second-round pick in this draft, I'm going to be disappointed. And I'm only saying it because the second round is the sweet spot of this draft. especially for wide receiver. There are some wide receivers, I don't know how it's going to happen or why, but for some reason, and maybe because there were some prime wide receivers in the first round, but there are wide receivers in the second round that I absolutely love. And I really want that pick.
I think we get a left tackle in free agency. And then I don't think Joe Douglas is going to leave himself married to having to take a certain position in the draft. I don't. I think we're going to get some sort of veteran wide receiver. And I believe we're going to get somebody who could start at left tackle in free agency. Jets fans get so obsessed. Well, a lot of fans do, but we're a Jet channel, so I'm going to talk about the Jet fan. The Jet fan gets so obsessed with the draft, thinking that the draft is going to be the answer to all of our problems every single year. Let's not put the horse before the carriage. Let's go in order. First step, create salary cap space, restructure contracts, cut guys. Number 2, free agency. Once we do number 1, we could see number 2. Once we do number 2, we could see number 3, the draft. And then there's number 4, the post-draft moves. Signing a McGovern, June 1st cuts, trades, free agency pickups in camp. Everyone's worried about step 3 right now, but let's get step 1 finished first. And then the picture will become clearer as we go. But everybody wants to see the Kenyan cross the line and win the New York City Marathon, and the gun didn't even go off yet. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everyone wants answers 3 steps ahead. Well, let's get our first answers first, and then everything will come into picture.
And it's exactly what I'm trying to say is that, like, everybody is just, I mean, it's the off season, right? And I get it, and we are wanting this so bad because the writing's on the wall for us as Jet fans and for them, but I mean, I would love to see what the moves are going to be like sooner than later. Right.
Oh, of course. We want to, right? We don't want to know how Thanksgiving dinner's made. We want that shit on the table, right? Like, we don't want to know what store you had to go to. We don't want to know about how long the lines were. We don't want to know about the traffic getting out of the plaza. We want to know what time's dinner. Like, we want to know the finale. Like, I get it. But there's phases. There's steps to this. Right? We can't tell you what we're going to do in the draft because we don't know who we're going to sign. It's not just like it's Madden. Everyone always thinks that free agency is Madden. We just have to make an offer. We'll get the guy. Get this guy. Get that guy. Joe Douglas made a tremendous offer for Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill chose the no income state tax of Florida over playing in New Jersey with our taxes. That's a factor. I'm not going to get political with it, but when you have a state state that is tax-free versus New Jersey state taxes, and somebody like Tyreek Hill publicizing that for all of the other NFL players who may have not thought of those things, that's going to hurt us with some guys. So especially when you're talking big money, right? Yeah. Like if you're getting a Connor McGovern deal, all right, it's not that much. I mean, to us, the taxes are probably more than most of us make in a year. But when you're talking $15, $20 million, now it's like, damn, do I really want to play half my games in New Jersey? Do I want to play 8-9 games in New Jersey? Oh, but I do agree with Jeremy. And I don't do that often, as you guys know. If you were asking me percentages before, I would say it's about 33% for me that we keep number 10. I think that if Fashanu and Altergon and Neighbors, Odunze, Bowers, and Harrison are gone, those 6 guys are gone, and we got a buyer, I think we're out. I think we're out at 10. So I think someone's not going to jump to want to trade to 9 because I think at 9 the Bears are going to take a defensive player there after taking an offensive player with their first pick. So I think that teams won't feel they have to jump to 9, they can wait if they want to get a quarterback, if or whoever. But I feel that after Fashanu and Alt go, I feel there's a very close pack of Fuanga, Latham, Mims, Guyton. Like, I don't feel there's a lot of separation with any of those guys jumping out. So if you do want to go O-line and your top 2 go, maybe you're okay going back once or even twice. My scenario, my draft scenario, trade back, get a 2. Now take that 2 and one of our 4s and move back up as far as you can to go get the next player that you want. And maybe come out of this draft with 2 1s.
Guys, I'll be back. I just have to take care of some things, but I'm not gone for good.
All right. Damn it. I was hoping he was. He's so disappointing when he returned. At least he didn't end the stream.
So I'm glad you said that about that, because I've been seeing that JC Latham has been getting destroyed left and right. And I'm kind of really high on JC Latham because of the athleticness that he has, of him being a basketball player. You know, anybody that's played ball, you know, your feet is one of the biggest things. And I think as an offensive tackle,
we don't discuss feet here. We don't discuss feet here,
my
Johnny.
bad,
What are you, insensitive son of a gun, you?
Hey, but it is Dano's and Snowball's birthday. So happy birthday to Snowball, happy birthday to Dano.
Oh, that's who it is. All right.
Yeah,
Happy birthday, gentlemen. Happy birthday to both of you. Fine, outstanding gentlemen.
Yeah,
We
Snowball, I
appreciate you
think he just turned 41. I think Dano just turned 28. So
God
congrats
bless,
on
gentlemen.
that.
Many, many more years to both of you. Good Jets fans, good YouTube guys, good chat members, awesome people.
Yeah, Snowball's actually a professional bowler. Let him tell you about his moves when he ever gets up here. So
Nice.
But
while Jeremy's gone, let me add Tigo in. What's up, buddy?
Hello, friends.
Hey, Tigo, what's up, bro?
The link is in the chat, guys. Give me like 10 minutes. If anyone else wants to pop in, that way you're not just sitting there waiting, and then we'll rotate it. Yeah. Oh, real quick, while we got people here watching, I got some announcements for my channel, for Proud New York Jets fans. I'm going to have 2 regular shows during the week. I am going to be on Thursday nights at 10 o'clock, right after the Thursday thick of it. So once, you know, that with Green Bean, Gunny, and Jeremy popping in, once you guys are done there, if you still want some more Jet Talk, hop on over to me. And then Sunday nights, we're going to go 9 to 11 on Sunday nights. And huge announcement right now. Tigo, I got to talk to you about this. Sunday, March 10th is a very, very big day for me. It'll be 1 year sober. And I'm going to do a celebration show that night. And I'm going to have multiple guests coming in throughout the night, throughout the 2 hours. I'm going to fill them in like 15-minute intervals. But it will be a star-studded Jet content creator night. I promise you that. So mark your calendars. You know, most of you, if you don't follow me already, Proud New York Jets fan, singular now. The guy who I created it with is MIA. So now it's singular. Proud New York Jet fan. That's me. So yeah, but that's it. Thursday nights at 10 and Sunday nights at 9. And then of course you'll see me here with Egghead on Thursdays. So thank you, Adiron. Thank you. It's easy, man.
It's a big
It's easy.
achievement, my friend. The first year's the hardest. Gets easier from here.
You know what? I saw something the other day on one of these like sober motivations on Instagram, and I forget who it was. It was a celebrity, and he said, "Oh, it was Iron Man, Downey," and he goes, "It's simple. Once you make the decision, the hard part is making the decision.
Mm-hmm.
When you're wavering and you're mentally going back and forth on, should I drink? Oh, I should." Once you make that decision, It's easy. And I don't want to sound arrogant or cocky because I know there's people who struggle. I've said flat out that alcohol and drugs are like the New England Patriots fans to me. I don't want anything to do with them. I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to look at them. They do the world no good. And that's it. I said that in a meeting with the Patriot fan, and the guy goes, bro. I go, shut up. You know what you are. They're like, yo, you can't talk like that in here. I go, hey, man, sorry. I left the AA meeting for a minute and went to the sports world. But no, Jeremy's not feeling well. Mess. Jeremy's not feeling well. He wasn't sure if he was going to do the show. And I was like, listen, just start it. And if you got to go, I'll cover the rest. But all right, just wanted to cover that. Some little housekeeping there with my channel. Yeah. So check it out. We got some good stuff coming. I'm very excited. And I've been waiting to find my commitment of what time I could lock in. And I think I finally got a good little area.
Well, I'm going to go and probably put my son in a headlock to go to put him to sleep. Right. But hey,
That's
Nick.
the best way to do it.
Hey, congrats, bro. That's awesome, man. And hey, dude, we're all here for you, man. So
I know. Appreciate your love, bro.
It's also therapy for us, bro. Every time you have the hangout spots too, you know.
Yep.
So on the everyday base. I mean, I got like 1,000 kids. I'm like a rabbit. They're all around here in the house, you know. So it is time for me to be able to just go chill and you know, spit some stuff with you guys. And you know, Batigo, bro, I'm telling you, dog, we're about to get like 8 different tackles in the free agency, and we're gonna be straight. That's all we're gonna do.
I don't disagree.
There's no cap. We don't have no cap, bro.
At the rate the two of you make babies, we know that you're straight.
Bro, I got my vasectomy next month. Don't compare me to Mr. Can't keep it in his pants over here.
It's just, bro, it was all because of Nick singing, bro. He's the reason.
Yeah.
He's the
Snowball and Dane, you get better watch out, man. If I sing happy birthday to you guys, then I'll do it before the show ends. I'll do it before the show ends.
Instantly, right before the stream's
you're
over.
You're gonna have a kid that night.
But I appreciate you guys, man. I'm out. I'm gonna go chill with the kiddos and whatnot. But Batigo, what you think about what I said a little bit earlier, man? About
I think you hit a lot of really, really good points, and then you said one really dumb thing. But I think you're right. I think that you have to, and Nick was right in this, and I hate saying that Nick is right, but he was very right on this one, which is like you got to go one step at a time. You
Say
can't
more.
get
Go ahead.
to the draft.
Say more, Tico.
You were wrong on everything else, Nick. Like that hat choice, the MetLife Stadium. Come on, we don't like this stadium. No, but like you have to go one step at a time, and it's hard to imagine that Joe Douglas is legitimately going to leave 10 to tackle, to have to be a tackle. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense, especially in a draft that really, if we want to do this objectively, really only has 2 day one starters that you can really comfortably look at and be like, these guys are solid. The depth in this
are you talking tackle? Or are you talking
tackle?
All right.
Like, I mean, day one, you put them on the right or the left side, and they are a starter, and you don't have to worry about them. There's 2 guys, and that's Talise Fuaga and Joe Alt. That's it. Now, the other guys, like I'm a huge Olu Fashanu fan. Olu has an incredible upside, but he's going to struggle early. We don't have that time. And so I think when you look at things through that lens and when you look at things that way, I think you're right. I think the New York Jets are going to go into the draft 100% with a 5 set of offensive linemen that they're like, week 1, if these are our starters, we're cool with this. Like, this is a good offensive line. And if things happen at 10 and if things go a certain way and you can go and get a guy like Talise Fuaga, or something I've been talking about a little bit more is that there is a real possibility that Joe Alt makes it to 10. But I think when you look at everything, you get a situation where you're not going to be married to a position or a player at 10. Joe Douglas is definitely going to give himself flexibility because, like Jeremy said, because I taught him so well. No, I'm kidding. Anybody with eyes is going to know this, is that the sweet spot in this draft is the 2nd and the 3rd round. That's the sweet spot, not the 1st round. So if you get to a position at 10 and you've got 5 offensive linemen, and you're like, you know what? Someone's coming up and offering me a second this year and a second next year to come up, and I can drop 8 spots. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Or if, and here is another legitimate dream scenario. What if Malik Neighbors is there at 10? Like, holy
You sprint.
You have to sprint to the podium for that guy, right?
You sprint.
Because
That's why you get a left tackle who is capable of starting in free agency. So you don't have to fall victim to negligence.
Exactly.
If you do not get a left tackle who is capable of starting for you, you are fucking negligent, Joe Douglas, because you cannot rely. You don't know how the draft board is going to fall. What if Marvin Harrison Jr. is there? Not that it's probable, but you cannot go in saying we're drafting this position because we did not get it in free agency. You deserve to be fired before the fucking draft even gets here. I don't think it's going to happen. It's not. You have to get somebody who's starting caliber worthy, because you never know how the draft board is going to fall.
And
Guys
I also
might trade
think
up for quarterbacks, right? Someone might go up for JJ. Someone might go up for Penix. That means guys slide.
And on that note, the harmony between you guys is amazing right now. You guys are both agreeing on something.
It's rare.
We're
We're doing it for Snowball and Dane's birthday. That's it. It's a front.
appreciate you guys, man. Keep doing your guys' stuff.
Be good, Johnny. Johnny, remember,
going, dude.
the key to parenting: duct tape and Benadryl.
Oh, all day. With a little bit of a sip of some NyQuil in there. Or Robitussin if you want a Robo trip. Depends on your mood, right? Hey, and Nick. Go Knicks.
Me and my kid? You're cheering us on? Thank you.
Later, guys.
Later,
Go
pal.
on,
Be
man.
good, man. Hey, for anyone else, the link is in the chat. Oh, look at this.
Oh,
We got Knobcraft,
18 months.
a member for 18 months. That's awesome. It's going to take that to prove NJD negligent. This last season is indictment on his negligence. I disagree with that statement, Knob. When you're on your 13th offensive lineman and you use 4 quarterbacks, your season's probably not going to be successful.
Yeah, it's
But
hard
let's
to
look
say
at it
that's
this way.
negligent.
We still won 7 games with the worst quarterback play in football, with the one of, if not the worst offensive line, with the most offensive linemen used. You have Aaron Rodgers, you win the Raider game, that's 8. You win the Falcon game, that's 9. You win the Chief game, that's 10. What are the other 2? What was the other 2? I had 2 others.
Probably win the Raiders game. You probably win the Chargers game.
Chargers, that's the other one, because the game plan differs, and they're not blitzing and pressuring nonstop because they're not saying Zach Wilson beat us.
And the other thing that I think people aren't taking into consideration is how many more yards does Garrett Wilson have with a competent quarterback? He had 1,000 yards with some of the worst quarterback play we've ever seen. How many more yards does he have with Aaron Rodgers back there? How many more total all-purpose yards does a guy like Breece Hall have when everybody and their mom doesn't know that 100% the New York Jets are running the ball right here? Because you can't trust the quarterback to go out and throw anything. You know what I mean? This is where I think that people are looking at, I love Knobcraft and he knows that, but this is where I think people are a little bit too hasty with it is just dude, freaking Woody did everything but announce it with all of the things that he's saying. And we got the information that he literally handcuffed Joe Douglas and said, no, you're not spending any more money at quarterback. You're not going and getting another quarterback.
Yeah.
That's literally what he was told. So there was no, he was told, make it work with Zach Wilson. And he tried. He went and got Aaron Rodgers and he sat down after four games. And you can't say that he neglected the offensive line either. It's the position that we've thrown the most assets at.
Yeah.
And we've had the least amount of luck when it comes to health.
Yeah. Listen, I keep saying this. For those who've heard me say it, you know exactly what I'm going to say. For those who haven't heard me say it, you're going to shake your head and be like, this fucking idiot's right. 4-3, 5-2, the last 2 years with the worst quarterback play in football. before we got to injury number 3 and beyond with the offensive line. Don't tell me that we can't win. Don't tell me. You just win with your starters. There becomes a point where you're picking up guys who are not on an NFL roster. You cannot expect to win week in and week out. It's not how the league
pretty
works.
sure Newman was working at UPS before he came to the Jets. Like,
Yeah.
that's not even hyperbole.
It's
I
not like
literally
you're
think
playing
he was
basketball at the local
UPS.
court and the car pulls up and you're like, oh, we got that guy next game. And you're getting freaking a Division II college basketball player, 24 years old. That's not how it works in the NFL. You're not finding guys off the scrap heap consistently who can contribute. There's not a million Kurt Warners out there. It's just not happening. Look at the Chiefs. Fairly healthy. They missed Thuney for their last couple games. Fairly healthy with the line.
But
Look at
they don't have a
the
single
Lions.
pass catcher until
The
the back half
Lions
of the
had their
season.
line healthy on their run. The 49ers. 49ers had a 3-game losing streak this season. Do you know why? Debo missed 2 3/4 of those games. The value that certain players bring cannot be replaced by anybody else. Is Debo the best wide receiver in the league? No. But to me, he's the most valuable because Debo doing what Debo does allows everybody else to do their job and makes it a hell of a lot easier. Coincidence that team struggled as soon as Debo went out? No. Our game plan, when Aaron Rodgers went down, multiple tight ends. That's why you didn't need Hardman. That's why Hardman wasn't playing. Because when Rodgers went out, we were eliminating our 4 and 5 wide receiver sets. We were eliminating the gadget plays because you use a gadget play in the middle of a prolonged drive. We didn't have a lot of those. So your whole entire plan gets crumpled up and thrown away, guys. I love you, Nob. You know that, but I can't agree with that.
Also, I think another thing that people are failing to comprehend here, and this is
Bingo.
moving on to a different point a little bit.
Read that.
Well, I did, but they went in with no true backup, and they weren't allowed to get one. That's the other sentence there. Woody said you can't go get another one.
Yeah.
You get Aaron Rodgers and figure it out in the quarterback room. The backup was Zach. That's what he was told.
Yeah.
Straight up. And
let's play trivia. I got a trivia question for you. In a year in the NFL, it's for everyone. Just for everyone. Whoever, Tigo, I know you know the answer to this. Let's give the chat a second to play along. We'll do a little surprise Nick Shine trivia here. In a year where the most amount of quarterbacks who have ever started in one season started, how many backups made the final 8 in the playoffs? Anyone? There were so many backups this year. How many backups led their team to the final 8 in the playoffs, gentlemen? Anybody? Correct, Snowball. 0. So I'm going to ask Jets fans this. Can we stop fucking pretending that adding any backup quarterback would have made us go on this magical fucking run? You weren't beating Allen, Mahomes, Jackson with a backup quarterback. You can't take what Aaron Rodgers would have done and just say, oh, if we had Tyrod Taylor, man, we'd have a ring right now. Oh, if we would have kept McCole Hardman would have caught that Super Bowl touchdown for us. Shut up!
Bro, he hadn't caught a pass all year before that touchdown pass caught.
You cannot replay. There's a reason that the best quarterbacks in football aren't beating Patrick Mahomes. This team is constantly down in big games, and guess what? They find a way. You're not doing that with who did we want? Who were the big names being screamed to go get when Rodgers first went down? Brissett and who was
Minshew?
Free agent.
Gardner Minshew.
No, he was signed on the Colts already.
Oh, I don't remember.
Jeremy, who was the name? Guys in the chat, if you know, remind us. Who were the names that Jets fans were screaming for when Rodgers went down? It was the trade for Brissett. It was
Well,
Yeah,
the
we're trying
people
to
wanted to. People wanted to get
Wentz.
what's
Thank
his
you,
name?
Carson Wentz. Yes,
Wentz.
Yes.
Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Kelly Hill is this
Shut
year.
the fuck up. What was Carson Wentz doing? He was going to throw more interceptions than Zach did. Oh my God, this fan base.
I will say
And
this.
you know what's great? I summarized the Jets fans like this today. Not all of them. We know the lunatic ones, and then we know the logical ones. All the logical ones watch our shows. So thank you to you, logical, awesome Jets fans. That's how you do it, Tigo. I said the people who scream the loudest with the craziest takes are also the ones that scream the loudest if the team does it that they fucked up. Maybe just stop screaming.
Look, the reality is no backup quarterback we would have gotten was going to be able to do anything with the offensive line the way it was. I mean, it wasn't going to happen. I mean, we were a wreck. The team was an infirmary. There was no offensive line. It was brutal. Who out there would have overcome that? I just don't know if anybody would have overcome that.
Again, if we had one of those dream scenarios that was never going to be a reality, those high-level backups that are like bridge starters, that's one thing, right? But like that's just not real. We weren't going to get Gardner Minshew went to the Colts to be a starter, and then they took Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
When Brissett went into camp, again, was already signed, went into camp with Washington, they didn't know who the starter was going to be. You know, Taylor Heineke, another guy that a lot of people were high on in the offseason, went to Atlanta because they didn't know if they were going to give Ritter the job.
Right.
Backups don't want to be backups. They want to be starters.
Yeah, I agree.
They're going to go to the job that's going to give them a chance to start.
All three of those guys, there was no way they were signing with the Jets. I agree. There's no way. They were not coming to the Jets to be in a situation where they had no chance of starting. You know, obviously not knowing he was going to get hurt before snap.
Dude, he in his entire like 20-something year career, he's missed significant time in a season. And like what I mean by that is like not where they sat him the last game, you know, just to rest him for the playoffs. Twice. There was 2 times. Last year, he got hurt and he said, screw it. I'm going to play with a broken thumb.
Yeah.
He didn't miss time.
Right.
It was a true, only in Jets fashion anomaly that he missed time. And he missed significant time because he missed the whole season. And so that one thing I can say this, I think it's been reported now, so I can actually kind of say this out loud. But I heard from people inside who are connected inside the New York Jets building that it's been official that they've told Elijah Vera Tucker that their plan for him is at right tackle.
I don't think that's impossible. Like that's not impossible for me to believe. Like I don't, you know, there's some things, rumors and things that get out that you say, oh, it's bullshit. But that's not one that makes me say bullshit. I mean, like that would make there's some sense to that to me. This, especially with this draft, you know that Tigo, with the interior offensive line that's available in the middle rounds in this draft, it makes sense when you think about it because that's that's the easier place to build.
Yeah, it is a much better situation, and it is a much easier position to fill is going to be the interior of the offensive line, especially in like we were talking about this when you were out. I'm assuming puking your guts out. That, you know, the perfect world is that at 10, you should be able to trade out. Like that should be the goal.
Yeah.
Trading out of 10 is what everybody should want. That's a perfect world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Not
so,
the Jets fans. Oh my God. Broderick Jones only started 2 games that he played well in, went to Pittsburgh. Our season's over. We don't have Broderick Jones. Shut the fuck up.
Also, he might hit free agency again, Nate Herbig. So we might be able to bring him back. I'm very excited about that.
That'd be nice.
I'm very, very excited about that. But AVT has been, I've known this for a while now, and then I said it, and then I was told to not say it because it wasn't like official. But it's been leaked now, so I can actually say it. Like the plan seems to be relatively high level offensive tackle in free agency. So, and there's a couple of different names there. I can't talk about the names and all of that stuff, but there's going to be a tackle brought in. There's a very specific target that the Jets have. Elijah Vera Tucker is going to be penciled. This is the key here. Penciled in at right tackle. And they're going to figure out the interior of the offensive line, whether that's through free agency, whether that's through the draft, because that is a much easier place to go. And so the penciling in the interior of the offensive line is where Joe Tippmann is going to play, because I don't think Lakin is going to go anywhere. And so they're trying to figure out is the move a center or is the move a guard, because that'll dictate what they want to do with Tippmann. But from my understanding, from some conversations that I've had with some people, is that they want to keep Tippmann at right guard because of his struggles with the snap and shotgun. And they want to do a lot of things out of shotgun next year so that Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to do full 7-step drops out from under center.
Which screams what? Resign McGovern to a short contract because he won the job last year. And I love Schweitzer. I thought before Schweitzer got injured, I thought he was playing decently. If he's our backup center guard, or if McGovern goes down, you move Tippmann in, Schweitzer goes to guard, whatever you want to work that. I like those three guys rotating in that I like that trio together. The thing with getting the tackle in free agency,
it frees up that 10 spot,
It frees up the 10 spot. It doesn't lock you in. You have Vera Tucker who can play tackle, and now it's much easier to find a guard in round 3. If you take a weapon early, you could still get a starting caliber lineman in 3 or 4 who can play the interior. And here's something the Jets fans, the biggest thing Jets fans have to hope for: a 4th quarterback doesn't get drafted before we're on the clock. No cornerback, no edge rusher. If you get to number 10 and McCarthy, Penix, and Nix are still there, and Latu and Turner and even D Murphy and the kid from Illinois, the tackle from Illinois.
Oh, Johnny Newton.
Yeah, Newton. And no cornerbacks have gone. You are going to have teams who are saying, wait a minute, we normally see a cornerback and an edge rusher gone by 3 or 4 or 5 the last couple of years, but everyone's going offense. Those teams are going to want to jump.
Especially with this. I will counter that with one thing in particular. I don't think people are going to come up for the corners. This is one of the deepest corners. There are legitimately 5 first-round corners that are separated.
And they might not start going till like 11.
Yeah. And
they're going to go fast when they start.
And here's the biggest part of that is that those guys are all separated by like a unicorn's eyelash in terms of like ability. Like legitimately, they're all really close. I swing on my quarterback ratings every single day. One day it's Terrion Arnold. Well, my cornerback 1 is Cooper DeJean, but like 2 through 5, they flip-flop every day. Every day they flip-flop because one day it's Terrion Arnold. The next day it's Kool-Aid McKinstry. The next day it's Quinyon Mitchell. The next day, like, it's Nate Wiggins. Dude, there are so many good like guys. It is actually insane. So
what we have to hope happens is you have a team like even Denver, 2 spots back, that I don't know how they're getting out of the Russell Wilson thing. It's mind-boggling to me because there's no way to do it without severe pain and dead cap. But if
they're just going to eat it.
If it's true that they're going to take a quarterback and they're worried that Seattle might want to come up and get a quarterback, or Pittsburgh might want to come up and get a quarterback, what happens is you get one of these teams and they're afraid they're going to lose their guy. Even though there's Penix and there's Nix and there's it doesn't matter. People are so nervous. We do it all the time. We're panicked that everyone wants the guy we want. So that's how it's going to happen, or it could happen. If when people say, why would someone trade up with us? That's why they would, because they don't want to miss out on their guy. They believe this is our franchise quarterback. This is the answer. They passionately believe in him, and they're not going to miss out on that future quarterback in their minds over some draft capital when they have the opportunity to trade up. And we see it every year. We see teams overpay to trade up to make sure they get that quarterback, especially when the top 3 are off the board.
The problem is Atlanta.
Tigo, hold on one second. Jeremy, this popped up earlier when you weren't here, and Knob was saying he had to go, but I wanted to share this for you to see. Knobcraft, a snacker member for 18 months.
Yeah.
Not the comment itself, just that he's been a member for that long.
Knobcraft, yeah, I think that's like, holy cow. Like, thank you so much. I can't believe it's been that long. I can't believe you stayed that long. I appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate it. I look forward to
Knob's an OG. I love Knob. Even when like we don't agree, he's the best.
I look forward
I'd
to
kiss Knob right in the forehead.
To him.
How many more innuendos can I make about his name? I would give Knob a nice squeeze I see him.
I was just sitting back appreciating it, Tigo.
I'm trying to keep it going. I can't think of any more. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome job, man. Yeah. Amazing. That's what Jets fans need to root for. You need to root for only 3 quarterbacks going, no defenders going.
We need Atlanta to go to 3. That's what we need. The scary team is Atlanta. Is the problem. We need to hope that New England brings in Brissett. Or like a high-level backup because they want to go take Marvin Harrison. We need to hope that they're not as high on JJ and Jaden Daniels as the rest of the people are. Because the reason I say that is the scariest thing is going to be Atlanta. Because let's say it does go quarterback 1, 2, and 3, which I think a lot of people think it's going to go that way. So let's say it goes Williams, May, Daniels. And again, totally would make sense if that's how it went.
I'm sorry.
That's so good.
That's the comment. That's the comment of the night, Snowball. It's your birthday, but you're giving us gifts. Thank you.
All this motherfucker does is fucking crack down on me.
And so
who, me?
That's
no Snowball.
Oh no, he's saying Knob is just doesn't know how to cancel.
I know. It's a shot at me, dude. It's a shot at me.
No, it's a shot at Knob not being smart.
Oh. Yeah, but he's also insinuating that somebody wouldn't want to stay a member of my channel.
I read it more that Knob is a knucklehead than you aren't worthy. I'm always right. Go ahead, Tigo. I'm sorry.
No,
we bicker a lot like a married couple. Forgive me.
No, what I was saying is more along the lines of Atlanta is the spot that you have to be worried about because they need a quarterback. They are technically within striking distance of a quarterback. And so now you've got to figure out, are they coming up for one? Are they not coming up for one? Like, what's the situation that's going to happen there?
And the wild card,
that
right?
matters.
You always got to beware of the wild card.
Yeah.
Like last year, Carolina jumps from 11 to 1 or 10 to 1, whatever they did.
Yeah, but it's not just. I'm not even talking about like the team coming up. Like if the team comes up, like that's great, that's fine. I'm talking about more about like if specifically the scenario you want is the Jets pick to be the 4th quarterback in terms of somebody coming up. That's a little bit more. It's scarier to think of that because Atlanta needs a quarterback desperately and they're within striking distance of one. And then you've got teams like Denver and Minnesota and Vegas who are all within striking distance of the Bears pick at 9. And the Bears are probably have 9 for sale. So you've got this weird, interesting dynamic of my biggest fear is that we're just not going to have a buyer for 10. That's the biggest problem.
Well,
I just don't see a lot of players that are really worth coming up for, especially if the 4 quarterbacks are gone. If the 4 quarterbacks are gone, I don't see a player in this draft that's going to have a team chomping for the bit. The only hope I have is that the Bengals absolutely fall in love with Brock Bowers and that he's there at 10. Because if Brock Bowers is there at 10 and the Bengals want to come up, that's prime real estate. And the Bengals have been looking for a tight end since before I was alive.
That's the one thing I'm saying, Tigo. The one good thing about what you're saying is like with bad, there's good. If you're right and somebody trades up above us to get that fourth quarterback, it does mean that some serious talent, positional talent, is going to fall into our lap, which either might be desirable for another team or just us if we handle what Nick always says, if we handle the first part A and part B, and we put ourselves in a position where we're not relying on one position. Suddenly, hey, what's the worst case scenario? We take Neighbors, we take a Dunze. I mean, and then in the later rounds, we just start to fill in the interior offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay. I mean, that's not the worst plan B, right? Because then all of a sudden we got this crazy, crazy weapon added to Garrett Wilson.
I wish I could disagree
Help
with
who
you,
out,
but I
Wild Wave?
can't.
Who am I helping out? What did I say?
What?
I get on a roll, and sometimes I say some crazy shit. Did I say something crazy?
Never noticed. You hide it really well.
Yeah.
I love you,
Yeah,
buddy.
it's just the whole weird. If you're in a position, I just want to, like, we talked about this earlier, but like if Neighbors is there, like you sprint to the podium to go get Neighbors, right? Like over women and children. And first of all, it's not going to cost a first in Wild Wave to get that from 18 to go from 18 to 10. It's going to cost a second.
No, it's just a second. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
numbers right now. We're 1,300 on the draft value chart. Cincinnati is 900. Their second rounder is 410.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
you do that and say we throw in one of our conditional sevenths to give them an extra pick, whatever.
Yeah.
It's only worth
the
one.
Steelers didn't even pay that much to come up almost an equivalent amount of spots.
They went to 14. They went, what, 17 to 14 last year?
And it cost them a fourth. You know? No, I think they went more.
No, they went to the pick before us.
No, I think they were farther back. I think they weren't 17. I think they were I thought they were 19. Whatever. Either way, the price to come up is not as expensive as I think people think it is. You're not going to get an additional first for 8 spots, especially not in the top 5. Just not how that happens.
No, they went 17 to 14, bro.
Oh, there it is. And what? Cost a fourth, right?
I got to check the comp. I just went to the draft results. And I guess I Google this shit a lot because all I have to do is put in a year and my phone immediately just finishes it. I put in 2023 NFL draft results. First thing to come up. Like, I don't care about anything political. I don't care about anyone's anything else in the world. 2023 NFL draft results. I put in 2024 NFL mock draft. I'm an easy read, I guess, for Google. So if we get a 2 and we go back, you're in a great position because of the defenders. There's going to be a run on defenders in that second 11 through 20. So Latu, Turner, Murphy, cornerbacks. You can go back and maybe still have your pick of a tackle or at least get one of your top 4. Like, I don't see a run.
If you fall that back, Brian Thomas Jr. comes into play, the wide receiver.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
I
I think he's a great compliment to what Garrett Wilson does. Oh,
Yeah,
actually, Wild
might
Wave
be-
mentioned it.
Thomas is clearly wide receiver 4, in my opinion. It's crazy that this is how it is, but it goes Marvin Harrison Jr. in a league of his own, generational. We will not see I guarantee you this right now. I don't think we see a wide receiver like Marvin Harrison Jr. for at least another decade. He's that good. And so he's in what I like to call, he's not even like wide receiver 1 tier. He's in best wide receiver in the NFL the second he gets drafted tier. I know that's hyperbole, whatever. He's that good. Then you go Malik Neighbors, who is stud, legit wide receiver 1. This kid's going to be awesome. He is,
Any
in
other
my opinion,
any other year, he's the number 1 guy.
by himself in a league of his own. If we're talking about just the recent drafts, and I mean literally just the recent drafts, and you do like the last 3 ones, he's wide receiver 1 in all 3 of those drafts. All 3 of them. It's not even a question. He's wide receiver 1 in all 3 of those drafts. Then it goes Romo Dunze, who I would put in that tier that we put Garrett Wilson and Drake London and like those guys in. That's the tier that I think he falls into. Really, 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 really damn good wide receiver. And then Brian Thomas is like right there next to Romo Dunze. The problem is I don't have Brian Thomas graded as a top 15 pick. In the top 15, that's a little bit rich. 15 to 32, I take him. I take him. I love his skill set. I love what he brings. I love all of the things about his game. But that, again, is in a situation where you're not at 10. So if the question is, would I take him at 10? No, I wouldn't. But if you drop back to 15, I would definitely take Brian Thomas Jr. I've been high on Brian Thomas Jr. for a long time.
See, the beautiful thing is all the top wide receivers, like the 3 you were mentioning, or the top 3 tackles, they and let's with the receivers add Bowers, they can't all be gone because that would mean no quarterbacks were taken for. You know what I mean? They can't all be gone. Someone is going to be there. Someone juicy is going to be sitting there for us, which is why if we could, whatever the AVT being at right tackle, getting a Herbert kind of guy signed, like if we can address a lot of that and really make that number 10 pick open, then if the trade back isn't there, my God, look, there's going to be someone very special that can make a very big impact year 1.
Very big impact. And I think I think a lot of people get too they get too tunnel visioned. They did it last year talking about the tackles and talking about the tackles and talking about the tackles. And it's just like, guys, Joe Douglas has never been the guy to reach in the draft. He
doesn't draft with feelings or emotion the way fans.
He doesn't even look at his roster when he drafts. We've seen that he doesn't look at the roster when he's drafting. Because what was the conversation during the Sauce year? God,
Thibodeau. It was Thibodeau or Jermaine at 4, right? That was me. That's all I kept saying.
Wouldn't we love Sauce? But you know what? We don't need a corner. We're not going to take him.
That's not the
that
way.
Was my whole entire thing.
That was my whole spiel.
Don't take corners in this scheme early. That it had to be Thibodeau or Jermaine.
And it was one of those things where it was just like we all got proven wrong, every single one of us, because the answer clearly became he's going to play the board. We heard that if someone we were going to take Mayer last year. If Will McDonald was taken, we would have taken Mayer.
We took Mayer over Kincaid. That would have been insane.
I think we would have utilized Mayer better than Vegas did.
Why? We had similar quarterback play.
Yeah.
Well, neither's career is defined. I mean, they've played 1 year. So.
And let's be honest, Kincaid wasn't even the best tight end taken last year. It was Laporta.
Well, Laporta had the best year, that's for sure.
Well, they're in a better vertical passing system with a lot more weapons, right? Like you could say that
Buffalo is the better system if you're the tight end. Come on.
No. Well,
Jared Goff or Josh Allen. Come on, man.
No, but who throws the ball downfield better? Detroit does. No, I'm not talking about a deep ball passer. I'm talking about their game plan and playing in a dome allows them to play different.
Buffalo is Detroit ran the ball.
You know when Kincaid went nuts, though? Do you know when Kincaid went nuts and then when he kind of dipped a little bit? When Knox got hurt and when Knox came back, there's a trust there. Laporta was drafted to be the guy. If Kincaid goes there, Kincaid does the same shit.
I disagree. I had Laporta over Kincaid.
All right, we agreed once that we had a good run.
Yeah, we
had a good run. There was never going to be a domino effect.
Yeah,
it was the leaning tower of Pisa. It wasn't a Domino's.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's the whole point. I think the whole point is that JD is never going to force a pick. He is going to play the board, and whether you like it or not, that's the thing that championship teams do. And it's that mentality or it's that ideology of like dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. We're not a playoff team, but we should walk around, act. We should act like we are. That's the whole thing. We're not a playoff team because the quarterback is bad and because Woody gets too involved. He needs to go back to making vaccines or whatever it is that he does for Johnson & Johnson, which I think is actually nothing. I think they just pay his trust fund. That's besides the point. Whatever it is, like, at a certain point, the mindset needs to change, and it changed the day JD came in, and he said, I don't care that this is a bad team. I'm going to rip it to the studs, and I'm going to play the board. And that's it.
I'll be right back.
I'm going to play the board, and I don't care what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, I think that if we haven't learned that by now, when will we learn it? I think if
For
you
real.
when he took Sauce Gardner, when he took McDonald, and let me tell you something, the McDonald is probably less of an example of it as Sauce, because the situation with Huff could tell you why he took McDonald. Like he, like if anything, you could argue that was about position of need or whatever, but I don't even think that's true. I think
No,
and
he just saw good player. It's a good player.
Right. They showed film of him. They showed him talking about it beforehand. He didn't say the name, but they showed him saying, this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. He was nervous, like a little bit. Like, do you think he's going to, like, oh, this guy might take him? You like, he knew what he was going to do. So I agree 100%. He's going to take all these guys, Bowers, Neighbors, Odunze, right? He's going to take all these guys and he's going to have a board, the whiteboard or whatever it is. They're going to be rated and he's going to stick to it.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
And if it just so happens Joe Alt slips and we take Joe Alt because that's who he has at number 1 and number 2, and it's like his top guy that's left, then we're all happy because it's a position of need. But like the reality is, and he probably has some kind of value system in his mind about what he would trade down to and where the players he think would be available, how impactful they are, how much he likes them, right? I mean, he has all of that in his head. All of that is like worked out.
They do all. You have to remember, and I think a lot of people fail to realize this, is that NFL boards do not look like consensus boards. In the NFL, there are players, or on NFL boards, there are players that get crossed off as like legitimately, they don't care. This kid is undraftable in our eyes.
Right.
There are teams that go into a draft with 10 names for the first round.
Right.
That's it. 10 names.
Huh.
Out of the top 50 guys, they see 10 guys that are draftable in their eyes.
Oh, I guarantee
they're going to get those 10 guys.
I guarantee you there are plenty of teams that, like, an example of that is there's no way they're taking Bo Nix. There are some teams that probably that there's no way we're taking them. We don't even.
I love Bo Nix. I'm a big Bo Nix fan. Not going to sit here and lie and pretend like I'm not. I do like Bo Nix, but there are going to be teams that are going to look at the situation and they're going to be not just with Bo Nix, but with all of them.
With all of them. Every quarterback is with the maybe not the top 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if every single quarterback, even Caleb Williams, had at least one team that says undraftable.
There's like, you're just going to be in a situation where you're just going to be like, Latu is not going to be on a ton of people's boards. Like a ton of people are just not going to like Latu because he medically retired.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, there are people that are good. With Caleb Williams, it's going to be they believe the reports, or the fact that his dad is out there talking smack already about being like the Mannings and, and what's good for his son. And there are teams that are going to say, I don't want to deal with that.
There's going to be teams that are going to look at that air raid offense and they're going to throw Caleb Williams right off of their board. There are teams that are going to look at Olufashanu and be like, oh, he's not ready to start day 1, and they're going to throw him right off of his board. There are going to be people that are going to look at Talise Fuaga and JC Latham and Amarius Mims and say, oh, these guys are just pure right tackles. They can't play left tackles. They're right off of our board. Some people are going to look at Malik Neighbors and be like, oh, he's 6 foot. We don't need a 6 foot wide receiver. He's right off of our board. Like, that's going to happen.
No one's taking Marvin Harrison off that board.
You know what team? This would be a fun exercise. Of the 32 franchises, is there anyone who would not have Marvin Harrison on their board?
Well, you'd have to start naming the teams that are really rich in wide receiver and like Miami and Cincinnati, right?
Miami probably would take him because they need the size and the athleticism that he provides.
Mhm.
I think the only one would be would have to be in a very specific situation would be Cincinnati if they brought back both Higgins and Boyd. They would just literally not be able to afford it.
Right. And you'd be paying for one of those two that's barely on the field. Like you'd be paying too much for somebody to not be on the field.
You would just play 4 wide receiver sets every down. It would just screw running backs. What are those? Just
that would be
what's
insane.
a running back?
That would be insane. They would be deadly though. You got to think. Wow. Can you imagine Jamal Chase and Marvin Harrison on the field at the same time with those, and then those are your other 2 receivers you have on the Higgins? That'd be insane. That would be unfair, dude.
It'd be broken. But again, one of those situations where it's just like that's a fun exercise. It's pointless and there's no reality to it, but still,
What, marriage?
That'd be a cool situation to just like. But again, everyone's gonna have those situations, and I would not be surprised if the Jets go into a situation and say there's 2 players that there's 3 players that we feel comfortable taking at 10, and if none of them are there, we're gonna try to trade back and we'll try to figure something out and all of that stuff. So you got to go through those scenarios and you got to have those conversations. And
Johnny knows me so well. Johnny saw me yawning before.
Yeah, just went out. Bro, sometimes you need the Bustelo. It's cool.
I can't even imagine. Like, I don't care what the circumstance is, like of what the needs are. If like for certain players, like Neighbors and Bowers and like these guys, if they really were to slip, my God, these are like, I mean, like it's just so hard to pass on guys like that.
Like my thing too is like it's so hard to pass on guys like that, especially if like the plan. Let's just throw a name out there. And I'm going to throw a name out there that isn't great, but he doesn't have the injury concern tied to a lot of these other guys, right? So let's just say that we signed Jonah Williams, right? He's got positional flexibility, can play the left side and the right side. We know how much Joe Douglas values that. We've already gone over that Elijah Vera Tucker's been told that he's going to be, right now, he is the plan at right tackle, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. So we keep that conversation. Let's say they cut Laken Tomlinson, they re-sign Connor McGovern, and so now Laken Tomlinson is left guard, Connor McGovern is center. And you've got this situation going.
People are going to think that I'm New York Jets fan with that comment. I was thinking that same shit. Go ahead, though. I got you. Just a name. I got you.
It's just a name.
I got you. For discussion, I got it. But that's my thought, too. I got you.
I think people are sleeping on Jonah Williams. Personally, I think he's the one that the Jets end up with just because of the positional flexibility, and he stays healthy, and he doesn't miss time, and he's just league average, you know? Besides the point. It's besides the point. You go in at 10 and Neighbors is there. Bro, I get it. Like, I get it. Like, let's say Fashanu's there at 10. Cool. I love me some Fashanu. We know that. Fuaga's there at 10. Cool. I love me Fuaga. I have Fuaga on the Jets board rated higher than Fashanu. Yeah. I love those guys. Like, they're great. But dude, Neighbors is so good.
Aaron Rodgers with Garrett Wilson and Neighbors. Oh my God.
Spring season. If Neighbors hits the floor like Garrett Wilson hit the floor as a rookie, you're looking at the best tandem in football. Easy.
Aaron Rodgers.
You're looking at the best tandem in football, and don't forget Breece Hall in the passing game. You're looking at an incredible offense now.
And Conklin, because that's going to open up everything.
We cannot go into the 2024 season with Alan Lazard as a starting wide receiver. He's going to be the highest paid backup in football.
Yeah,
You can't go. He can't. To me, he can't be above WR4.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, you just not.
He's gonna be wide receiver 3, but you should do everything in your power to make him WR4. That should be the plan.
You
How
get
can
me
we get him
Curtis
WR4?
Samuel. You get me Curtis Samuel, and then you get me Neighbors or Odunze, and then Lazard is 4. Now I'm gonna nut in my pants because I have no other way to say
And
that. I
bro,
apologize.
I
if
know
this feels
people are like,
disrespectful.
"Oh my god, I'm gonna puke if we sign Jonah Williams." Dude, Jonah Williams played better than every single person not named Joe Thuney who did not play in the playoffs for Kansas City, or Creed Humphrey on that O-line for Kansas City.
There's nothing
Jonah
wrong.
Williams was better than both of their tackles. Again, this is not me trying to defend Jonah Williams. This is just me saying, like, relax. Relax.
Don't do
There's
it.
nothing wrong with him.
You
Oh.
just
Nothing wrong
dude,
with
an
it.
Tigo, do you know
offensive
what-
line, an offensive line, real quick, and an offensive line of Jonah Williams, Joe Tittman, Connor McGovern, and let's say Zinter in the 3rd round, and then AVT, bro, sign me up. Sign me up.
It's not bad.
Diego, not that you've ever seen this movie, but there was a movie called Zoolander where the song "Relax" is like the trigger.
You're
It's a
talking,
classic.
you're talking to him as if he doesn't, if he never heard of Zoolander.
Diego, have you ever seen Zoolander?
I have seen Zoolander.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Come on.
We
man.
went through like a whole bunch of those old comedies, and you're like, nope, never
No,
seen it, never even heard of it.
Zoolander's no. You were talking about comedies from like the 70s and the 80s.
No, I was talking about Old School, which is the same time as Zoolander. You said you never saw Old School, super
okay.
bad. I gave you a whole list of them, and you were like, no.
Okay, you're right, but I didn't. Zoolander was a comedy, and like Superbad was one of those like I don't like there it was a stoner comedy. It's a different situation. I was never into that kind of stuff, and
Yeah, I mean, when you think of it that way, like work out the offensive line, but get Neighbors. I'm actually getting more pumped about the thought of that because it's just ridiculous. It would be ridiculous if that happened.
I will say this. I'm going on record now. I don't think Neighbors gets past the Giants.
nope.
Right,
I'll give you my 6 right now. The top 6 is Williams, May, Daniels, Harrison, Bowers, Neighbors. And I think Alt goes Tennessee at 7. And I think at 8 is where it gets interesting with Atlanta. Do they take the best defender? Do they take the 4th quarterback? Do they go corner? Do they go quarter, corner, or edge? And I think the draft for me starts in Atlanta because I think the rest is just, I think it's almost locked.
They really need.
I would be shocked if any of those 6 teams trade. I think that you're going to see where everyone's like, no, we want this guy. We want this guy here. Thank you. But we're going to keep our spot. Maybe the Bears at 1 because they have 9. But I don't know. I just think that's the 6. And then Alt at 7.
Every time I hear Giants might take a tackle, I want to blow up. I'm like, they're not taking a tackle again. They've taken Andrew Thomas. They've taken Nielsen. They're not taking a tackle. They're taking a weapon. They've been looking for a weapon for 5-6 years. They have not found that weapon. They are so desperate for that. They're definitely taking a wide receiver.
I think the Giants.
Here's the thing, right?
I think it's
Does that
deep in it,
change?
but I think the Giants ride Daniel Jones one more year, get an elite weapon this year, so that whomever is your quarterback in 2025 has a guy who he can count on. Barkley might be gone. Waller's not the greatest weapon. Wan'Dale Robinson's a nice little gadget slot guy. You need an alpha or 2 in the NFL nowadays, unless you have Patrick Mahomes who can make any average Joe look good.
I think that might change.
Also from Dodgeball, Tigo, another best.
I know. Fucking watch Dodgeball. I will say this. Also, a great no Joes versus Pros. That was awesome. That was a great TV show. I will also say
was
this.
so good.
That can change too because free agency exists. If the Giants go out and
True.
throw a bunch of what if they get Curtis Samuel and Mike Evans? Neighbors at 10, Neighbors at 6 or whatever their pick is. A little less likely. And Evan Neal
Can't
is
see
ass.
Evans though leaving Tampa for a bad team.
Dude, money talks.
I get it.
They come in with a 35 million per.
They
I'm
got
not saying that they're going to.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying that they
quarterbacks matter
should.
for a wide receiver. Quarterbacks matter for a
Not
wide receiver.
ones that have won a ring already. He's trying to get paid. It's a difference. Like if we were talking about Ayuk, that's different. You know what I mean? Like
Evans
Ayuk is a total.
32,
He's,
it's a final contract. So
this is his final contract. If they come in with a 35 per for 4 years, no one is offering him 35 per for 4 years. But if the Giants did it,
Why would
you
they-
got
Ayuk or Evans?
no, for Evans. Ayuk, I'd give him
35 for 4 years?
I'm
That'd be
just
crazy.
saying, like, to
Oh,
convince him
Jesus.
to come. I'm not saying that's what he's worth
That's
or that's
what
what
she
he's going to
said.
get.
Yeah.
But, like, it's one of those things where it's just like the Giants might look at their window and be like, our window is now because we have to deal with the situation and our cap situation isn't great. And we can essentially
point, Jeff.
start a pseudo rebuild once we're done with DJ.
Jay's got a
What?
good point. Mike Evans is QB proof. Very good point, Jay.
Well said.
Yeah, that's some guys transcend quarterback play. Mike Evans transcends quarterback play, right?
Man, I could see the Giants. It wouldn't be if one of them was to slip, a quarterback that they really like. For the Giant, if one of them slips and doesn't go in the top 3 and was there, I could see the Giants taking them and then taking their second round pick, adding something to it, like trading up to get like a wide receiver at the near the end of the first rounds, or Robertson, or like I could see like that would be to me good general management, like good.
And that's the thing.
wheeling
Like,
and dealing. Get your quarterback, trade up a little bit with your second round pick, move that up into the first round because they have a high second round pick. So add something to that, get into the back of that round, get your freaking, get Robertson, get Roman, Lad McConkey, whoever it is.
Troy Franklin. There's a ton. Dude, this wide receiver class is so good. We're going to be talking about this wide receiver class if everything goes according to plan. Talking about how the crap did this guy go in the 4th round? And then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, because this guy went in the 3rd of that draft. This guy went in the 2nd of that draft. And these guys went in the 1st of that draft. This is the draft. If you need a wide receiver, just pick one on day 1 or day 2. And more than likely, they're going to work. Like,
I'm
it's
playing.
just insane.
Bruh.
The Giants taking Brock Bowers is I don't even have Brock Bowers on their board.
Crows.
The Giants.
Do they still have the kid from LA under contract?
Like they've got
Kid
Waller
from the Raiders.
and like I get it. You can move on from Waller, but like I feel like there's so many other needs that come ahead of tight end for them.
Hey, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Why are you the way that you are? God, I can't stand you.
He wants to play with the technology.
I like it. It's going to be fun. I mean, I like that we have options, and I think we're going to have more options. And I think that everybody right now.
And
Here's
as
one thing that-
usual, Nick is wrong.
Yep.
All right.
Usually.
So all of these fans who are pounding the table and tweeting every day, it has to be this, it has to be that in the draft, are going to be really upset. I, honest to God, do not think the Jets draft a lineman in round 1. I don't. I think they're going to take care of left tackle in free agency. I think Vera Tucker is right tackle eligible, and they're not going to take a guard because there's no guard worth taking. at 10. I think that people are going to lose their fucking minds. But if Huff walks, I think D-line is still in play with this regime, both the coaching and the front office. Robert Saleh said after we beat the Mike White game against the Bengals, and I quote, "This team goes as this D-line goes. Lawson will be gone. Huff could be gone. Jefferson could be gone. Woods is gone. Clemens isn't what everybody wants him to be. Don't be surprised if you move back a couple spots and Murphy or Newton or Latu or Turner
Reverse.
or reverse.
I did that in my mock
Not
draft.
Be surprised.
I did that.
You-
I did
You
that
get
in my
Curtis
mock
Samuel
draft.
and you get Bakhtiari or Jonah Williams. Do not be surprised if defense is in play. And in a year that you could lose both DJ Reed and both Michael Carter,
Do you know
Reed
what
could be a free agent. Go ahead.
You know what Billy SBC says to that? I think you're 100% right. Don't be surprised. It's like it's whatever's on his board. It's like
100%.
if there's a tackle, a defensive
You don't
tackle.
think they're going to love Murphy from Texas? You don't think they're going to love the size of Turner and Latu on the edge after letting Huff go, who
Johnny
doesn't
Newton?
play the run? You don't think that they're going to fucking love verse Latu and Turner? You don't think that this GM and this coaching staff are going to watch these guys and say, that's what we need? We need a guy who's just as big, just as fast, just as high energy as JJ. Now, what are you going to do? You got guys, you got DNs in your scheme who play the run, play the pass, don't give up on plays, track the ball down from behind. That's how you win. Don't sleep on it, guys. Do not. And then Will McDonald is still just your third pass rusher. He's your rotational pass rusher. JFM flexes out. You get another body, you bring Jefferson, someone Jefferson-like in. You still have Clemens to rotate. Who's Smart, right? Tanzel Smart is the guy we kept cutting. We bring him back, bring him back. Maybe he gets a better role, a bigger role.
Hey,
He's somebody who's been.
We have room. I mean, McDonald doesn't even have to be that. I mean, we have room the way we play and rotate the line because both McDonald and definitely JJ has already proven both of those guys can play the early downs with JFM. I mean, McDonald just because of his athleticism, and JJ has already proven to be a good edge sealer. So
Blame
the way we play our line, well, you could have four edges be very valuable. Right, you could have like if we got a guy like Verse, it could be Verse and McDonald that are the pass rushers for the late downs. I mean, it's any combination.
No, because now you start creating NASCAR fronts. That's the whole point. When you've got guys like that, you've got NASCAR fronts that you can start throwing that are just absolutely insane. Because on 3rd and 15, I know it's crazy, but you take Quinn and Williams out. Can you imagine four pass rushers on that situation being Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, Jared Verse, and JFM? Like it's just dumb. Because it's just dumb. You want to put Quinn and Williams in instead of JFM? Cool, whatever. It's still just dumb.
Right, and both believe. Well, McDonald only if he puts on some muscle, but in college,
It's already doing it.
they misused him and played him on the inside. So you could have JFM and McDonald play on the inside, and you could play.
No. They would put JJ there. They would put JJ on the inside. They did that this year for some NASCAR packages.
Didn't
because they would
fucking
put-
Warren Sapp play the 3 technique? And they had Will McDonald playing it at college.
But like
It was
but-
ridiculous. They misplayed. That's
And
why
he did well.
That's why he wasn't more talked about, though. I'm telling you, if he would have been wide 9 in college the whole time, believe me,
he would have been up there with Waj, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like he was so freaking good. And again, I don't know if you guys follow them on Instagram or whatever, but like if you follow the players, like they're working out together. JJ and Will McDonald have been connected at the hip.
Yeah.
He's following the
let's
same
be real.
offseason.
JJ doesn't get too far away from his girlfriend's hip. I mean, the videos he's doing with her, thank God he's an animal out on the field. because man, the videos he does with his girlfriend, I'm man, what are you doing? Let her be the social media girl. You be the football guy. But young love.
But
It's a
yeah,
new generation. I'm old. I know.
but it's still one of those things where it's just an insane. Again, do I think that's what's going to happen? No. But if no,
This
go
is-
to the one beneath that. That's even better. Oh
yeah,
man,
Skinny Nice.
I'm fully expecting an OnlyFans at some point. That's
From what?
That's-
JJ's girl, Hannah.
from JJ and his girl.
It's
Oh man, But-
she's my new jet girl. I'm off of the Alexis Borden. I unfollowed her. She's too full of herself. I'm announcing it like I ended a relationship, Tigo. I unfollowed her. I'm done with it.
Jeez, dude, it's not that serious.
Listen,
Sitting
I
here.
want my Instagram whores to be Instagram whores. I don't want kitchen tips and baby videos. I have a fine line with why I follow these women.
That's so funny, dude.
So it's a compliment to her that she does not fit that criteria. It shows that she is maturing as a mother and as a woman. When I unfollow you, it means all right.
All right, you've become too much of a human.
Yeah.
Is Biden coming back? Will he make the 53?
He'll come back whether he makes the 53 is a different conversation entirely.
Right. Like he just might be there on the practice squad, someone you could bring in and activate sometimes.
Yeah.
And if not, we just have Jets Twitter attacking Aaron Rodgers because he cost Nick Borden a check. No, dude, Nick Borden's vested. Everybody chill out. You don't even know what you're talking about when you get outraged.
For real.
You know it's after 11?
Jeez.
Oh, I didn't even know. Look at that. I made it the whole way. It's unbelievable.
You took a 20-minute nap.
Yeah. I didn't take a nap. Tigo had it more accurate.
Oh, today's Wednesday. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, reminder, tomorrow night, my channel, Proud New York Jet Fan, 10 o'clock, right after the Thursday thick of it. As soon as that ends, my channel will begin. Hop over, say hello, join the conversation. Sunday night, 9 to 11. Tigo, hang on 1 second. Let me talk to you when we end the show. Stay in the studio. Jeremy, you plugging
All right.
anything?
I'll be on tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, 3 o'clock with Matt O'Leary for our show Reality Check on the Talking Jets channel. Please go if you can. If you're at work, just play it. If you can listen into some of it, but support it. We're really trying to build up that channel. I'm honored to be on that team. So just I appreciate any support you guys can give. Talking Jets channel tomorrow, 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern.
It's a good time. I listened to it. I was talking about this on our show today. I listened to it. Your show comes on right when I get like 30 minutes. I get a 30-minute break every day where both of my boys are asleep at about the same time.
Mhm.
And your show is 15 minutes in right as that 30 minutes starts. So
Nice.
I can put I can start the show from the beginning, put it at like time and a half speed and catch the whole show so that I'm catching up to the live right as it's ending. And then my boys will wake up. It's a good time.
That is the most outstanding feature on YouTube.
Yes,
it
it
is.
is.
Oh my Lord.
Especially
And the
'cause
fact
a lot of
that they changed it like a year ago. Smaller channels, you can like minimize it and it stays open and plays now over other apps. That was about a year ago. So if you're watching YouTube on your phone and say you're watching one of our channels, you can minimize, swipe up on the iPhone, and it goes to a little box in the corner and continues playing. It won't do it with the really big channel. Like if you want to listen to like music, it won't do it with those, but it'll do it with like our channels.
Well, yeah.
So you can listen to that while you're like playing a game or whatever else.
Yeah,
The picture in picture mode. Yeah, Dana. It's fantastic.
It's a
And
great
then
feature.
the speed the speed thing.
This speed thing is a savior. I don't know if like a lot of you guys might know or might not know. I'm back in school, obviously. So a lot of my professors' lectures, because of like the COVID year or whatever, are on YouTube. Dude, these are like 2.5 hour lectures on things that no one gives a crap about. I can get through them in like 45 minutes because you just put them on double speed. Because I don't think these professors know how to speak quickly. They're all like, and yesterday, it's just ridiculous. But
yeah. One other plug before we sign off. Wicker Media, Adam Y2K has a new wheel. He's invited me on, so as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna hop over to his channel, and he has a new wheel for the jet wheel. So he's got some new names on it. Go check it out, and we'll see you over there. And thank you everyone for watching. And I apologize for how Jeremy looks. Feel better, buddy.
Thanks. I hope I feel better soon. All right. Where is it? Here it is. Take care, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. We appreciate you, and most of all, we love you.
And now, welcome to Pride and Chaos.
Welcome to the darkest year of our adventures.